It's 6:30 in the morning now. It's day 11 for me, fasting. And I gotta be careful because last time I hit the side button on this phone. Look, this was on my TV. I stayed on all night. It must be Jesus. I read in a Bible in my high school library. Let me set this down. Sport. Sport. Look how I see. It's still dark. It's still dark out, but that's a picture they had of Jesus in the Bible based on I don't know if it was Josephus or but somebody wrote a thing about Jesus. It's not in the Bible, but they had it in the library in my high school. Looking in one of their books, they said Jesus had red chestnut hair. I never seen any pictures of him like that, mate. But that picture right there, look again here. That's what they said he looked like. Somebody said that about him. They said something else about him too. I mean, they gave a description of him. Yeah, it's funny. I seen one time somebody saying that Jesus never really existed. Somebody was arguing that he's just made up by the Catholic Church or the early people. Somewhere, I don't know. Not by the early people, but by like the Catholic Church or something. Anyway, look, I'm gonna call this one able to fit on the. That was another boy. I'm gonna call this one because I was dreaming. It was kind of a merger, you know. My son wrote me that letter. Let's see if I have it. Well, I'm gonna pause this a second and see if I can grab that in my thing. Yeah, I got it. It's a letter that I wrote to Tom Collins from the Blue Ridge Psychiatric Alliance. But I just woke up. I was another boy. It was a merger, I think. It's funny how things are like this. This was just out, shuffled in with some other stuff on a shelf. I have a lot of records. I mean, when I write stuff, I usually try to keep a copy. A lot of stuff I've done, thrown away or got ruined, but I threw it away because it did get ruined. Well, a pain in my heart, man. But in my dream, I was that boy and I was another boy. I was dreaming that I was at my dad's. I was at my dad's and I was, my dad married another. He was with another woman. He didn't marry her until I was already like, well, I wrote that letter to my mom. I read a while back, and that I was, I don't know, it seems like I was in 4th grade. I remember walking him over to my adopted families to Dorothy's house and her kids. You know, she had 4 kids, and this is when they were younger and everything, and I was younger. And this is when I was little. I had a little, like, you know, I had like a little, I don't know, like, you know, 12 or 16 inch, like, wheeled, inches tires on a bicycle. Like, I had a little bicycle. Like, I don't know. I really got cotton off. I don't know why. Just walked up. But, you know, her family, we were little. I mean, and I told you that my dad gave my brother Brian, my stepbrother, you know, Brian, you know, who was a year younger than me, my bicycle. Hurt me really bad because I loved that bicycle. I'd go to my dad's house, my grandma's house, you know, and visit my father. You know, he didn't have his own house or anything. When he picked me up, I went with him to my grandma's house, and I had a little room in there, you know, and I had a bicycle that I would ride when I went to her house, my grandma's house, grandma and grandpa, and yeah, I could ride it around the block and everything. I didn't have to have training wheels or anything. I could ride it, but I was little. I was in Valparaiso, Indiana, right on the corner of this block, pretty close to Highway 30, and and anyway, then, you know, he met this woman, and I remember walking with him down the block. She lived in Gary, and with her kids, her 4 kids, and you know, they were 4 boys. They were pretty tough and stuff like that, you know. They used to wrestle and everything. They had bunk beds, and the hole in the wall where they were playing football, and somebody ran into the wall. You know, they had football inside the house. And anyway, so he stuck with her and took care of them boys, because their father was in Kentucky, and she didn't have anything to do with them, and never did. And so they were my adopted family, and I grew to love them. But it hurt when my dad gave my bicycle to my brother. And he told me to get me a new one. Well, I didn't want a new one. I wanted my bicycle, but it hurt me bad. And it's the thing of going to see your dad and getting taken away from, you know, when you're a kid, you want your life to be consistent, right? You know. But I had adjusted to the situation. I mean, but then to have that situation, I guess, you know, ripped out from me, you know, you make me love a family, and then you take that family away from me. You know, you make me love a bike, and then you take that bike away from me. You know, when we're little, like my teddy bear, you know, we have what we call transitional objects. My teddy bear, you know, that I talked about before, you know, I mean, I learned this stuff later, you know. It's what they call in psychology a transitional object. And, you know, even sometimes, like, the idea of God can be a transitional object. You know, for some people. Maybe, I don't know. Just a thought. But, if nothing else, God is a placeholder. If all God is a projection, well, there's a placeholder. That's why when I felt abandoned by God, kind of like being abandoned by my teddy bear, you know, because I made God out to be alive, and then I found out that God was dead. That's actually from Nietzsche. God is dead, but I don't really mean that. I mean not God is dead, but God was just a projection of my mind, transitional object, you know. I never gave up on. Just like I never gave up on my teddy bear, because I imbued my teddy bear with life. Well, okay, I don't know how I got off on all that. I'm not trying to say that there is no God or anything. But you know as well as I do that when we talk about stuff like God, you know, we're talking about faith. And you know, faith is for something that you can't prove. Well, faith will be and God will be. And my mom seemed to be talking through me, saying, you know, it'll be as you will have it. You know, so mom is saying, it'll be as you will have it. And not to lose your faith. Your faith means everything. And it's hard. It's hard to lose your faith. But, you know, sometimes we go there. And I've been there. It's hard to lose somebody when you believe in somebody and you lose them. Like I said before, you know, God hates divorce. Well, anyway. I woke up from this dream. I was like cleaning out my dad's toolbox or something, you know, like, I don't know, really just playing. It really wasn't like I would like doing anything like really important or anything, you know. You know, his tools and his toolbox, and I was just like, you know, empty the toolbox out and was putting the tools back in, like in some kind of order in my imagination or something as a kid. And you know, I'm being left there. I was left there alone, by myself, alone, just occupying my time and my mind. And I'm a little kid. It was in my dream. And then it had something to do with my brother. Maybe I think my brother was in the hospital or something, you know. Kind of like that song, you know, Playmate. My mom used to sing me. Won't you come out and play with me? My dolly's got the flu, boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Playmate, come out and play with me, and bring your dollies 3, climb up my apple tree, like that, you know. It couldn't come out today, like that. And my mom used to sing it to me. And so then when I woke up, you know, because my dad said something about I couldn't go see him or something. I couldn't go see my little brother, or my little stepbrother or something, you know. I couldn't play with him or something. I don't remember in the dream what it was all about or something. In my dream, I don't know what it was all about. But but I woke up from it because it hurt. I said to my dad in anger, I said, I hate you. I said, I said to my brother or something, I'm never coming to see you again. Or I said it to my brother, or I said it to my dad. I said, but I said the words, I hate you. And I said, and I'm never coming to see you again. And then as I was waking up, I was thinking, you make me love them, and then you take them away from me? Right? And kind of like the pain of my mom when she used to cry singing that song, by Jimmy Swaggart. Like, there's only these things that I love and hold dear to my heart. They're just borrowed. They're not mine at all. You only let me use them to brighten my life. But remind me, dear Lord. I can't really sing. I can't hold a tune. So my mom didn't say it. My brother used to tell me that. My actual half brother, Scott. He used to say, he said I could never hold a tune. Yeah, he said I was tone deaf. Anyway, I probably am. I'm not tone deaf. I'm not a singer. But anyway, he was though, and he probably still is. If he's alive, I haven't talked to him in years. Ever since the downfall of my mom, they put her in a nursing home. I had to take her out of that nursing home. He wouldn't give me power of attorney. I couldn't see my mom in there though, laying on the floor. The place smelled like piss. Her hair was all knotted up. She was crying. I took a video and sent it to him. It didn't move him. I took her out as if I had taken her to an eye doctor's appointment, which I did take her to, but I never brought her back. So, they were angry because they get the money. I didn't have the authority to do that. But I did it anyway. That's what she wanted. My brother bucked at that. Never talked to him again. She never went back, but she lost her Social Security money. But she died, sometime after that anyway. Well, not right away, but, Anyway, I brought her back to her house. The house that me and my brother built for her, and my mom, we built it together. Anyway, I'm getting off the point here. But they're really not off point. I mean, they come to my mind for a reason. I know I'm supposed to be telling you this because it's coming up in my mind. And anyway, I said to my dad in my dream, I hate you. The pain you caused me. And I felt as a little kid in my dream, like I was that boy. It never really happened in my own life this way, but in my dream, see, I was that boy. And I am that boy, still. And then when it come to my younger son, Isaac, or Coyote, he wrote me this, it says, he didn't write me this, I wrote this. He said to me, oh man, my glasses thing just busted off. Oh well, I'll have to see if I can keep it on here, I guess. Okay, so I wrote this, Tom Collins. Yeah. I don't know, I haven't read this whole thing, but when I was just briefing through it, that one part I read, Like, I don't know if there's anything else on here I should read, but because I don't know actually what's in here. I told him I wanted him to understand a few things, but this is the beginning of the first paragraph. Friday, December 28th, I picked up my son. His name is Isaac Wheeler because his mom changed his name to Rollinson after she got married to Dr. Rollinson, and I took her to court. You know, she wouldn't give my son my last name, and we never got married. And his last name was Wheeler. You know, at first, you know, when he was born, because you know she wasn't married to Dr. Wheeler yet, and I mean Dr. Rollinson yet. And anyway, I asked the judge, you know, to and put me on his birth certificate and to give him my last name, and you know, to order her to do that. And so, you know, after paying $200 an hour and not being heard until all day, my lawyer is sitting in there all day long, you know, the last case, you know, is sitting there waiting, you know, he's raking in the money, and I'm paying $200 an hour, a lot of money way back then, and just this fat fish-faced judge, you know, say, you know, he wouldn't order her to do that because, you know, he can't do that, or he won't do that. But no, she didn't have to put me on the birth certificate. She never did, and she wouldn't give him his last name, my last name, but you know, she gave him Dr. Wheeler's last name. I mean, Dr. Robinson's last name. But I don't know, it hurt. I mean, it hurt to not even, you know, like his grandma, Isaac's grandma, left me a voicemail, you know, telling me that I was just a sperm donor. Yeah. And yeah, you know, she offered me not to have to pay child support, and if I would just walk out of his life, I wouldn't have to pay child support no more. And I said I can't do that. Even if I can't see him, I'm not gonna sign the papers of adoption and walk out of his life, you know, for him to be adopted by his new dad, because I'm his dad, and that ain't me. That ain't the way I roll. But you know, he says my son says, well, you know, he said, this is what my son says, you know, he said, I touched his leg when we were driving, and he got in the car and stuff like that, and you know, I got in his car seat and everything, buckled him in the back seat, you know, and you know, got behind the driver wheel before I took off, you know, I turned around and looked at him to say hi, and so I said, he seemed in a normal, good mood. I reached back to the back seat and touched his leg and said excitedly, "Hey, boy." He said, "I'm not a boy." I responded playfully, "Well, then what are you, a man or a mouse?" And I said that a lot of times to him when we were play wrestling. And he said, "I'm my mother's son and I'm not your son." See, I tried to engage him in play, you know, and trying to where we left off. And, you know, we played together and everything, you know, and always had a good time together, you know, but I don't know why he said that, you know. I know, you know, his mom, you know, I made him a picture book, all the pictures and everything I on my computer back then, you know, and I printed them out on a bunch of little pictures on you know, 8x10 sheets of paper that I could print, and printed it in color and everything. Had a whole like little notebook full of pictures, and you know, he told me that After his mom seen it on the way home from a visitation, I drove him back up, for his mom to pick him up. We met at a certain place. They didn't want me going to anybody's house or anything, because we had conflict. I have to meet at a certain location where the judge said for us we had to meet, and well, she threw the picture book out the window. She looked at it, threw it out the window. Yeah. I mean, I know, that's what happened. And so this lady, Laurel Joyce, she worked at the Blue Ridge too, and I remember I had to see her. She became privy to that, and she kind of took to my defense. But as a dad, without custody of your son or without a joint custody, you don't really have much say, and you just got to try to make the best of a bad situation, which I did. Always try to make the best of a bad situation. But it come to my understanding as I woke up that I am that boy. Right? I am that boy that my son was. My little boy, Isaac Coyote, I also am that boy. I felt every pain of his heart, the things that, people try to impose upon us when we're little in a broken family. We get a broken family, we get a broken heart. I knew what a broken heart was, man. Early on, the first lesson I taught in life. What the meaning of a broken heart? Because before I even knew what a broken heart was, I had a broken heart. It's only in reflection after an accident or something like that, that you look back on something and you make sense of it, and your memory and your imagination, and well, it's your memory really, but it is also your imagination. It's a funny thing how imagination fits in there, but imagination kind of is like your memory is like a coloring book, and your imagination is like the colors and the crayons. You color it in. You color in your coloring book, with meaning after you learn how to color, and you learn how to stay within the lines. Then you can color your coloring book and put the colors in there. Like I remember one time I colored in a picture of a girl, of a woman, and I gave her yellow hair and pretty like eyes, and I don't remember what color eyes I made her, green, blue. I mean, they're all pretty, brown, whatever. But yeah, you make different pictures and stuff, and put different colors in it and everything, and in your coloring book, and you make stuff, and you look back, and then you look at it and say, yeah, I like that. I like that picture I made. That's what we do with God too. We give God's like a coloring book, and we color within the lines that we were given, and then we give God color, and we do the same thing throughout our lives with everything, and make it beautiful. And you see a child take a black crayon, over a picture that he really loved, and he made a nice picture and everything in his coloring book, and takes a black crayon then and scribbles it all out. It's no good. Well, that's the pain of a child, and I was that child. And my boy Isaac, he was that child. And we are that child. And, it's, There's a song I'm going to look up, I think it's called The Rainbow Colors or something. And I took the paintbrush from Jesus and painted what I wished to see. And the colors kept running and dripping. And things got all messed up. But, then I gave the paintbrush back to Jesus and he fixed my life. He fixed my life. And the thing is, that's what faith does, like faith in Jesus Christ, because that's what the story is. And he comes and he fixes our life. I don't know how it works, but it does. And makes it better. But you never can take away the pain of a child's broken heart. In my dream, I told my dad, I hate you. I'm never coming to see you again. Well, it seemed like he was mean to me. Didn't care about my feelings. And what these are, there's leftovers of the embers of a burned out fire. And that's what that means. That's why it's like in Jacob the Baker, there's a story that he told. It has something to do with hope. And he got hope from the ashes of a burned out fire, because somebody else had been here before. That's what I'm going to call this one. Somebody else has been here before. Or if it won't fit, I'll say been here before. I wasn't going to say I was that boy. Or I am that boy. Or I was another boy. Because through empathy, we are that boy. I am that boy. My son Isaac, I am that boy. I bear that pain. And maybe in the gestalt of things, maybe each one of us are all pieces in the mind and heart of God. We're all the broken pieces. The shattered pieces. I could call this one the shattered pieces. I wish I could flesh this out more. But they're pieces. They're pieces of a broken heart. Maybe that's what I should call it. Pieces of a broken heart. I don't know. Alright. Cut it off here. Should I say I love you? Should I say I love me? I'm talking to myself. I don't know. Alright, bye.